All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back. I'm gonna try and do a quick video here. I just got back from Axpona 2025 in Chicago, and as always, great show. I mean, it is definitely the number one premier show in the country. It's gonna have the most rooms and the biggest attendance, and the team there does a great job of putting on a wonderful show every year. I arrived at the show on Thursday, and we were hosted at a an event for industry folks on Thursday night. And like always, they put on a great event. It was a lot of fun. I was at the show all day Friday and all day Saturday. I left Sunday around noon. So I was able actually to get to all of the rooms, with the exception of the headphone rooms. I don't really go to those. Don't really find much interest in the headphone stuff. So I'm not the guy for headphones. But the two-channel audio stuff was exceptionally good. I think there was well over 200 rooms this year, and some new vendors, some new products. And I'm going to run through my list. I actually got to them all, and no, I'm not going to be talking about just the brands I carry. I'm going to be talking about everything I saw. So hopefully this is somewhat educational for you. Um, the one thing that nobody is talking about, that I think all of these experts have missed, is the underlying theme of this entire show was active speakers. There were more active speakers this year by a multitude of 10 than I've ever seen. So it was interesting to see. I was paying attention, shall they say, and there was a lot of new products on display. Active speakers have been at the shows for a number of years, but this was the one year I could honestly say where we were seeing more active speakers than we've ever seen at a show. And I'm talking literally 10 times more than we would normally see. So there's definitely something there. Um, one of the first rooms I went into that was quite impressive was Grimm, and I was hearing the Grimm active speakers, the LS1C. That was a really nice sounding room. It was very musical. It was easy to listen to. A very balanced, natural approach. I thought it sounded great. The Goldman active speakers were in the hallway in just outside near the large rooms, and they were using the new Goldman streamer to feed the Goldman active speakers, and I thought it sounded exceptionally good. Um, Pass Labs had on display, and we could actually hear it, the new Pass XS preamp. It looks really, really good in person, and it sounded phenomenal. And it's been drastically improved sonically from the previous XS preamp. Lower noise floor, more dynamic sounding, better separation. I thought it was very good. There was a company called Silent Pound, kind of an unusual name, but they had some dipoles, and those were quite good. For a budget system, I thought the TIAC with the Vienna acoustics was a really good sort of budget system. Another one that I saw was for a budget system was the Atome speakers with the Atoll Electronics, and hopefully I'm not butchering the name too bad. I did speak with those folks. A little unusual. They basically only want brick and mortar dealers, and they only want their products on display in the stores. They don't want them sold online. I found it a little unusual. It's not the go-to-market strategy I would employ for that level of cost-effective speakers and electronics. I think they're missing out a lot by ignoring the online market. To be honest with you, I would, if I was in charge, I would be encouraging them to have their products more readily available online and be using more modern marketing, such as YouTube and Instagram and perhaps even TikTok and Facebook. But I would be my go to market with that those two products would be a little bit different than what they have. And the reason is that, look, you're talking about speakers and electronics that combined are $3,000-4,000. it's a lot to ask for a dealer to put those on the floor. That's a lot of floor space and shelf space, if you will, for not the ROI that they get with maybe a higher dollar item. So I think it's a better play for those brands to actually be online, but they were fundamentally opposed to it. So I wish them the best of luck. It won't be a fit for us because our online products, our online website, Suncoast Audio Direct, would have been a really good fit for their brand, but you know, we're not going to put them on the floor. There's only so much floor space we have. The Martin speakers with the Angstrom, and I hope I'm not butchering the name. Big tube amps. I think they're 211 or 845s. Sounded very, very good. Definitely enjoyed the new Solution 717 amplifiers, 727 preamp, and 760 DAC, I believe, was on display. But the whole new 7 series from Solution was really, really, really good. Another room I liked a lot was the Magico M2s with the MSB Cascade and the M500s. I thought the MSB room, Vince had it dialed in beautifully. It was sounding great. A room that, you know, is always great. It's sort of like you kind of just expect it to be great, was the MBL room. Jeremy had that room, you know, really dialed in well. But what else is new? It's like every show they're sounding amazing. So the MBL room once again was outstanding. There was a company called RBH, and RBH had some active speakers on display, and again, just like the Goldman and just like the Grimm, the active speakers sounded very very good and lively in that room. Rido, you know, you remember the name Rido from years gone past. They hired the Gamut designer, and he's been working on redesigning a lot of the Rido speakers. And I got to hear the new bookshelf speakers and the floor standers, and I thought the voicing of the new Ridos was actually quite good. There was a company from Germany which was called AUER Acoustics, and I found it very interesting. The gentleman had taken out all of the furniture in the room, and I find it interesting because when you take a room at Axpona, you actually sign a contract that says you will not remove the desk that is permanently attached to the wall, but he did. And that was interesting. Anyway, he was actually able to build a room within a room. And so for room acoustics, he went to the nth degree and had built a room within a room, and it sounded really good. That was acoustically a very good sounding room. Normally you get, you know, typical hotel rooms and they sound less than good, but he had actually treated the entire room and it sounded fantastic. It sounded really good. There was Burmeister Electronics with Master Artist speakers, and I thought this was definitely the one of the better big systems in a small room. I thought it sounded very, very good. The Gestalt speakers also sounded good. A surprise for me was getting to hear the new Constellation Revelation 2 amplifiers, which now use a switch mode power supply. So the Constellation amps had some of that Solution dynamics and magic and grip on the bass and punch and separation and all the things that you get with Solution, but it still retained a lot of the Constellation musicality. So the Constellation Revelation 2 amps with the new switch mode power supplies, I thought sounded great. The speakers were the Magico S3 Mark IIIs, which we have in the store, and it sounded really, really good. I liked the Lingdorf room, Steinway Lingdorf. I thought it presented an interesting option for people looking for a speaker that can go flat against the wall and a single box DAC streamer solution with DSP. So if it's more of a lifestyle product, but if you were looking for something like that and you didn't have a lot of room where you can bring speakers out into the room, I thought they sounded pretty good. They went flat against the wall, and they were actually kind of flat speakers. So that was something interesting. Credo from Switzerland speakers with the EMM electronics, the amp, the preamp, and the DAC. I thought sounded that was a very nice musical room. Thought that sounded great. My friend Win Wong. From Canada, he had the Vimberg speakers with the Quran. I think it's Quran. Hope I'm not butchering the name. Electronics, and that sounded very good. Win always has a good sounding room, so I wasn't surprised. The best music I can honestly say was my friend Ari, formerly of Arender. Ari Morgolis was playing the chord electronics with the ProAct speakers, and he was doing the DJ duties, and yeah, he had some great sound there. The Lin, they were semi-active speakers, so I think the bass was active, but the mid-range and tweeter were passive. So I thought that was a good sounding room. You know, Lin stuff can be hit or miss, but I think that room actually sounded really good. The Devulet, they've redesigned the Devulet, and they had a new product, and it was sounding very good. Again, you know, the amp, preamp, DAC streamer all in one. It was $20K. I thought that sounded very good. Like I mentioned, you know, active speakers was really the big theme of the show that I saw. It's funny that I look at all the industry experts and not one of them caught on. It was very interesting. Nobody's talking about this, but that really was, you know, there was at least 10 times more active speakers this year than I've ever seen at a show. And that was pretty fun to see. My favorite room, honestly, I would give, for me, the best of show, and I was in the room for almost an hour, as I thought the Magico M9s with the D'Agostino electronics, I thought that room sounded great. I mean, I have to give full kudos to Magico. It's kind of a balls move to bring in their statement speaker into a hostile environment like a hotel room, and I thought it sounded really good. I've heard mixed opinions of that, but I don't agree. I thought it sounded quite good, and I was in the sweet spot. I was sitting off access. I was in the sweet spot. I was in different rows. I thought that room sounded really good, and it can be a challenging room. That is not an easy room at that show, but I thought they had delivered exceptionally good results in that room. And for you know, for me, it was the most, I found myself getting extremely musically engaged with that system. And that's why, the biggest reason why I marked it as my best of show. A highlight for me is more on a personal level. I got to find some time with Ivana Manley of Manley Labs. I've wanted to tell her for a long time that she really helped me a lot when I was getting started many years ago. Actually, Ivana was one of the first people I called and asked her all kinds of questions, and she was extremely helpful, extremely patient. So it was fun for me to actually run into her, because every time you go to a show, Ivana's just like, she's just surrounded by people, and you never get any quiet time with her. So I actually ran into her in the marketplace, and I was coming around the corner and she was coming around the other corner, and I ran into her, and actually it was a quiet spot in the marketplace, and was able to have a good conversation with her and tell her, you know, 100 years ago when I was starting out, you know, how helpful you were. And she's just a class act. I mean, just a wonderful lady. Overall, I thought the show was a lot of fun. I had a great time. We did not show Clarissus there. A lot of people stopped me in the hallway. They're like, "Hey, where's Clarissus? Where's Clarissus?" Yeah, we couldn't make it work logistically. We had just got our stuff back from the Dallas show 2 days before I left for Axpona. And even though there was a room available for us to take at Axpona. We just logistically can't make all of these shows work. We had just done Florida in February. We barely got our stuff back when it had to go to Dallas. We got our stuff back, and Axpona was literally 2 days away. So logistically, it was a little tight for us. And all of our stuff now has to go to Munich, Germany for that show in 3 weeks. So the logistics, the cost, it's very difficult. So I know a lot of you wanted to hear the Claricis. We did Claricis last year at Axpona, and we didn't do Dallas. So people were wondering at Dallas why we didn't do Claricis. So we had to pick one or the other, and we had done Axpona last year. So this year we decided to do Dallas. What we'll do next year, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out as the time comes. We'll definitely do the Florida show, but whether we'll do Dallas or Axpona, I really don't know. I'll have to figure out what we can get in terms of rooms and logistics and figure it all out. So yeah, I think that's it. Tim, do you have any questions or anything about the show?
What was the best song that you heard?
The best song, actually, I did have my Shazam going. So let's see. The best song, I did enjoy. There was "I Can't Stand the Rain" by Woong San. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Thought that was very interesting. There was a song called Quasar, Quasar, and the band, I'm assuming, was called Gidge, Gidge. I thought that was a very good song. There was another one by called "The Summit" by Avi Kaplan. That was a good song as well. I had several that I Shazam when I was there, and definitely added to my playlist. So yeah, there was some good tunes, you know. But it was fun going into the chord room and the pro act because, you know, Ari is a hardcore music lover like me, and I think he was playing the Rolling Stones, and he was playing some Fleetwood Mac, and I mean, no offense, he wasn't playing a lot of audiophile music, which was fine by me. So he was playing some really good tunes. Oh, you know what I did hear that was actually quite good is Philip O'Hanlon was playing an acoustic live version of Something Like Olivia, it's called, by John Mayer. And it's a special album. It's an acoustic live album that John Mayer does, and he had it on vinyl, and it sounded really, really good. I did look for the vinyl, but I think it was quite expensive. It was several $100s. But yeah, Philip had some good tunes there.
Nice.
So anyway, I think that's it. Overall, great show. Hope you guys enjoyed my feedback. I have read some interesting comments so far on room analysis. I find them all very, very interesting. What people are liking, and you know, there's different tastes out there. That's for sure. It's some of the rooms that I would have selected as my worst rooms, they were selecting as their best rooms. So I don't know what's involved there, but my list is quite honest, and it's how I felt. So hopefully you guys agree. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.